Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger, and this is a very special episode of Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. And right here with me today, we have film critic and guest film critic, Mr. Chris Clemente. Chris, welcome back to the show, sir. Yeah.
Glad to be back. Yeah.
Anytime, anytime. How are things?
Things are good.
Yeah.
Can't complain. You know, a lot of great movies are out this summer, and I'm
Yeah.
really excited. So,
Mhm.
one being, the anticipated, what we've been anticipating, Asteroid City. So
Yes,
I'm
yes.
really excited for just non-Marvel. Not that I'm not
Yeah.
excited about Marvel, but just it having a variety in the movie theater.
Yes, and originality is at the
Yeah.
forefront of this movie
Yeah.
review.
Right.
And today we're going to be discussing the new Wes Anderson dramedy, Asteroid City,
That's right.
which, as always, as a usual Anderson film, we've got an ensemble cast. Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston. And the list goes on.
Yeah.
And this is basically a staple. It's a trademark of any Anderson film over the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, you're not in a Anderson movie if you're not in A-list.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And here we have a very interesting film. It is
Yeah.
an ode to like 1950s serials, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's a small city in the desert, basically, featuring a small group of civilians where an asteroid crashed to Earth.
Yeah.
And there may be some government cover-ups. There may be
Right.
some serious relationships at play here. And just a lot going on,
Yeah.
like any Anderson film within the last few years.
Yeah.
Anderson's last work was The French Dispatch, which also had an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Also a lot going on there, also a dramedy.
Yeah.
This one I think is a bit better than The French Dispatch.
I agree.
And it's a sort of a return to form for the director.
I agree.
Who he has a great filmography, which we're going to get into in a minute. But
Highs and lows.
Yeah,
Highs and lows.
like his
Yeah.
career is a definite roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
But Asteroid City, I think it's one of the stronger films to come out this year.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we just got to see it this afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's still fresh in our minds.
Mhm.
We're still digesting it.
Yeah.
But
That's the thing with
Yeah.
Anderson movies, is that like you need a day to digest.
I know.
You need multiple viewings.
here we had just a few hours.
Right.
So we're going to do our best, though, to
Right.
dissect this little
Right.
film.
Right.
But
Initial initial response,
Yes.
initial reactions going
Yeah.
on today.
But
Yeah.
like I said, the ensemble cast is there.
Yep.
And we get some really great mini performances. We
Yes.
don't get like huge like 4 or 5 minute monologues or scenes of dialogue. We get kind of like just glimpses into each of these characters' lives,
Yes. Yeah.
which I think is pretty good. It's
Yes.
handled well.
I think you're left wanting more
Yeah.
from a lot of the actors and characters. I think there's only a few. Jeff Goldblum probably comes to mind where you really want more, but you're satisfied. At least I was satisfied with the performances.
Yeah.
throughout. And I was, and not to speed things up or anything, but I was really impressed with Jason Schwartzman. So
He was at the forefront here.
Yeah.
He was the main actor,
yes.
bar none.
Yes.
Who he has kind of a troubled past, to say the least.
Yeah.
He's a war photographer who has seen some stuff
Yeah.
in his life. His personal life is even messier.
Yeah.
He's got it's 4 kids. He's got
Yep.
3 daughters and a son. The son is actually part of a group of educated misfits in this small
Mhm.
village.
Mhm.
He's a brilliant scientist.
Mhm.
He wins medals, he wins other awards throughout the
Mhm.
film,
Mhm.
and he's basically like his father, is kind of like estranged
Yes.
from the world.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that kind of misfit mentality, it serves him well, because that's basically a theme in many, if not all, Wes Anderson films.
Mhm.
So it's funny too, because he because of his accolades in this film, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Max Fisher in Rushmore.
Yeah,
who
yeah.
was played by Jason Schwartzman.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point. It's like it's like full circle where he
Yeah.
becomes the son, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
or the younger kid, I should
The
say.
son becomes the
Yeah,
father.
right. So good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just completely blown away. There was so much emotion that he was wearing on his sleeves, on his face,
Yeah.
and I think he just carried. I don't remember a lot of him being the main star of the film.
Right.
Besides Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
Besides probably this and Rushmore. I think this, like, he just, you know, he's aging great, he's acting great, and I think this was one of his best performances of his career.
Agreed. And he's only 43 years old.
Yeah.
He actually he did Rushmore back in 1998.
Yeah.
When he was like a teenager. I'm
Yeah.
not sure exactly how old, but since then he's been in the Darjeeling Limited, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest Hotel, Isle of Dogs, French Dispatch, and now Asteroid City.
Yep.
So he is definitely Wes Anderson's darling here.
Yeah.
Like it's his go-to guy.
Right.
Kind of like Scorsese with Robert De Niro or Leonardo DiCaprio.
But I think this is a perfect choice, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes when directors pull in their friends to do favors, you know, sometimes it's not quite a great fit.
Right.
But this was clearly a really good fit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, him and counteracting with Scarlett Johansson, I think their chemistry was beautiful.
Yeah. Very Wes Anderson stylized.
Yes, very dry.
Yeah.
Dry dialogue between the both of them. But it complements each other so well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think the two of them together, Schwartzman and Johansson, they had the most scenes together.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they were basically, their relationship was the backbone of Asteroid City.
Yeah.
They were the main selling point, basically.
Yeah.
Not to undermine the rest of the amazing cast. We've also got Tom Hanks, who plays Schwartzman's characters. Was it father or father-in-law?
Father-in-law.
Father-in-law. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know,
it could be father and son.
Yeah,
there was this kind of you know, hate-love relationship,
right?
But it was father-in-law, and I think they were great together too.
Yeah.
And I think their arc, you know, especially towards the end, played out beautifully. So
that awkward father or father-in-law son dynamic is you can it's so great, so brilliant. You can cut it with a knife. And I obviously, you know, I love Tom Hanks. I've loved him.
You do?
Yeah, well, yeah, just a bit. But it would have been cool to see more of him in the film. I mean, I guess in a way it was the appropriate amount of Hanks.
I mean, like, there's still some convincing on my part to whether or not Hanks is kind of going to be his staple. You know, what the same way that, you know, a William Dafoe or like a Bill Murray, although he's not in this one.
Which I'm surprised though. Why? Surprised by the fact that Murray was not in this film. Because he's been in pretty much all of his other films. But
I could see there being a similar shimmer of light there where he could do more. I could see Hanks coming. Yeah.
Oh, and also another painfully underused actor, Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, he was there.
He is Flash. Basically he's like a hotel manager, kind of like, you know, helping these people adapt to life in Asteroid City.
And given the role, I think he was enough. Like, I love Steve Carell and I would love to see more of him, but given his position and role in the movie, I think it was fine.
I think everyone was used perfectly.
Looking at the list, Jeffrey Wright stood out to me quite a bit.
He played the general who was overseeing the military operations and the experimentation of this small community in the desert.
He had some good monologues.
He's a fantastic actor, and the stuff that he was memorizing for his lines was insane. If he wasn't reading off cue cards or a teleprompter, then I give him so many kudos. It's not even funny.
And he's becoming a staple too, because this is his second thing. He did the French Dispatch.
Right.
Prior to, and it's an unlikely choice, but I think he fits well. So
everyone does. Even Bryan Cranston, who's brilliant. As the film's narrator without giving too much away. They kind of stylized him in like this classic 1950s style.
Right.
Made him seem like, like kind of like a Rod Serling type.
Right. Right.
That was a little later on, but
Yeah.
that old school,
Yeah,
very
like a newscaster,
yeah.
like just an old timey
And the way
broadcaster.
Anderson just like filmed those scenes with him.
Yeah.
Everything, all the black and white scenes definitely felt like they were out of the 50s.
Right.
So I was really, I definitely appreciated that
Right.
approach.
I agree. Another standout for me
Yeah.
was Matt Dillon.
Yeah, he was barely in it,
yeah,
but
he was really funny.
right,
Like a dry, like typical of Wes Anderson movies.
right,
Dry, but like quirky at the
right,
same
right,
time.
right.
And there, I think the moments that were laugh out loud had him in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's really amazing the way Anderson uses his cast.
And I think that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of like chucking through like his filmography, and I gotta admit, Wes Anderson, is still kind of an acquired taste for me.
Yeah, okay, okay.
He's not a go-to for me as far as auteur directors.
Right.
And you, like we were talking, you definitely have to be in the mood to kind of go see his work. With this particular film, I think it's kind of on the upside of that. I think kind of is upper echelon. Wes Anderson.
He's definitely getting better and better as the years go on.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go back a bit to the beginning of it all. Right now, we're just going to discuss a little bit of Anderson's filmography.
Yeah.
He basically started his career with a short film, Bottle Rocket, which would then turn into a feature-length film. That was in 1996. So that was basically the beginning of it all.
And here's a shame plug, but I actually saw it for the first time a couple weeks ago. And again, it's just because I'm not the biggest Anderson fan.
Okay.
But I wanted to, it's always been on my list. And having seen it, it's definitely that movie has his style has morphed into the way it is now. More stylistic, more cinematic as far as colors and set pieces. But that movie was kind of like a standalone film.
It's interesting too, because Bottle Rocket was, for me, it was firmly grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Not very unlike his future films, which were kind of like very pastel colored, kind of almost cartoony, even though some of them were cartoons.
Right.
They felt like a different world, a different universe.
Yeah.
Kind of like a world unlike ours.
Yeah. Like Wes Anderson has this like quality about him that like he is a living, breathing art student. Like every film, especially modern day Anderson, feels like, his thesis. Whereas his first film, Bottle Rocket, which should have been like that, felt like something that was made by a more mature director.
It's weird. It did also
more theatrical too.
And it kind of did feel like a student film in a way, because it was very simple. It was very character driven. And focusing on the dialogue,
which it was, but it had more of a blockbuster element, in my opinion. Bottle Rocket, than his later stuff.
Gotcha.
Just because it has to do with heists and.
I'll tell you, I'll definitely give you. I totally agree that Anderson's films are an acquired taste.
Yeah.
And for me, the first time I really appreciated that was in 1998's Rushmore, which also starred Schwartzman. He was, like I said, he was very young. He was a teenager at the time. And that film kind of introduced me and introduced the world, I think, to his brilliant style.
Yes.
Because he kind of had this very interesting way of moving the camera. His sets were very specific. He's a true artist, like you mentioned, he's an artist. And you could just tell, like, from every scene, everything in the shot, it really feels like it was very meticulously curated and artfully done.
Yeah, you could tell there's a lot of storyboarding going on beforehand.
And Rushmore, for me, that's my favorite Anderson film.
For me, it's probably Royal Tenenbaums.
Okay, that's his next one. 2001.
I got like there's a lot. I came later to the Anderson game.
Okay.
Much later. Fantastic Mr. Fox was probably when I saw him.
Okay.
Saw his films in real time.
Okay.
And then I kind of went back. But
Gotcha.
Royal Tenenbaums has a special place in my heart.
Oh, and just to backtrack a little bit, I just want to mention Rushmore basically brought about Bill Murray's renaissance.
Yeah. Yes.
It brought him back into the spotlight as a more of a dramatic
Right.
character actor. And I think that is mostly due to Wes Anderson.
Right.
So kudos to him.
That kind of led to
Yeah.
Lost in Translation, right?
Yeah. That Lost in Translation was 02 or 03, I
You're the
believe.
date man.
Yeah, hey, I know the dates. I
Yeah.
know dates. But okay, Rushmore, Roy Tenenbaum. Roy Tenenbaum's up the ante
Yes.
because that's I think the first time he actually used an ensemble cast.
Right. Right.
Brilliant there. Gene Hackman led a great group
Right.
of actors in that film.
Right.
Next up, we have an even weirder film called The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou,
Yeah.
which I love this film. You know, if ever I'm in a bad, actually, I can watch pretty much any of Anderson's films. Like if I'm in a bad mood,
Yeah.
I'll put one of those on,
Really?
and it just perks me right up.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Life Aquatic is
Okay.
one of them.
You know, I have to go back and watch Life Aquatic.
Oh.
That's I remember seeing it, liking it, but I just haven't revisited it, and that's
Okay.
I think I might do that tonight.
Yeah, Bill Murray knocks it out of the park
Yeah,
for sure,
of course.
or blows it out of the water if you want to say.
Yeah,
Because-
right. Yeah,
and again, the ensemble cast is there.
yeah,
That was in 2004.
Yeah.
So Anderson took a little bit of a 3-year break.
hmm
He came back with a very interesting dramedy featuring 3 brothers called The Darjeeling Limited,
yeah,
which this film was, I think, even it upped the ante even more in terms
Yeah.
of his artistic ability.
yes. I think this is the one that kind of solidified him as style.
Yeah.
You know, cinema.
Yeah.
You know, his kind of pastel.
Yeah,
Kind of artsy type of cinematography.
Yeah.
For sure.
definitely. And I remember seeing a behind the scenes documentary about the making of the film. How I don't know if it was Anderson himself or maybe some of his crew members who were actually painting the little designs on each train car.
Yeah.
Like little elephants, little horses, giraffes, whatever. Like that's the attention to detail that I so respect about Anderson.
Yes.
He definitely has a vision and he knows what he wants out of a
Yes.
movie, and he has an audience for it, and he knows what the audience wants, and for that I give him all the praise in the world.
Yeah.
That's
funny. But how many films has he done?
All right. So we got Darjeeling Limited, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah,
which-
about 11.
Yeah,
Right?
about.
Yeah, I feel like he's done so much more.
I know, and this is since 1996.
Yeah,
So, but like I said, each film is a lot of care and attention. So,
right. And that's the thing for me. Like, there's definitely so much style,
Yeah.
so much cinematography, so much detail that goes in. It's almost hard. It's almost like the opposite of what we see in modern day blockbusters that have 7 or 10, sequels to them. Sometimes we forget the plot, and it's almost like the same deal here. But instead of forgetting everything about the movie, it's hard to kind of really zone in on the plot because there's so much detail. So it's almost like we're focusing more on the micro elements than the actual broader macro elements.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, that's very astute of you.
Yes.
And I wanted to, you mentioned blockbusters, and we are in the middle of summer right now.
Yes.
And we are definitely getting blockbuster after blockbuster.
Yes.
So it is so amazingly refreshing
Yes.
to get a movie like this.
This year, I think the summer of 2023, it feels like something back in time where we have so much variety. I really hope that this is, new Hollywood now. I hope we get out of the slump, get out of this funk from the pandemic, and really focus more on original screenplays.
I hope so. And a real test, it's kind of a sideline, but I'm a little excited for Barbie because that's
my guilty
yeah.
pleasure.
We will be reviewing that on the show soon.
Yes.
But you basically have a blockbuster movie there, directed by an indie filmmaker and a great writer.
Right.
So she's basically going to turn something huge like this, like Barbie, And I think she's going to make it kind of intimate
Yeah.
and easy to digest,
Yeah.
and not just for the
It's
masses,
the
but
shell is blockbuster, but the heart, the core
right.
is indie.
I
Yeah,
think we're going to get
I,
a spark of originality here
I
from
agree.
Greta.
I agree.
But that's
and Noah Baumbach, you know, which
yeah,
I'm a big fan of. I love Squid and the Whale. I
yes,
love Greenberg. I love all his stuff.
yes.
Even, you know, I know there's a lot of haters for the mumblecore movement, but I loved it.
yeah.
It just it resonates with me.
Nice.
And yeah, I think this is it's. I hope I'm not psyching myself up, but I think this is going to be something very special. And I'm not afraid to say that it's Barbie.
Yeah, who cares?
Barbie.
I
This
saw
might be the best
Yeah.
toy
yeah.
we have board game like
Better than-
Hasbro or Mattel. You know, type of
I'm
movies.
almost positive it'll be better than Transformers.
Yeah,
At least the sequels anyway. The first
Yeah.
one's good. Everything after that, not so good.
I forget.
Yeah,
forget.
it's all the
Yeah,
same at this
yeah,
point.
it
It's
is.
all blockbusters.
Yeah.
So back to Anderson here.
Yes.
So Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Love that.
his
Love that.
first animated film.
Yeah.
It was a stop motion.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep.
He followed it up with an even more brilliant film, Moonrise Kingdom.
Loved it. Loved that a lot.
Yeah, also an ensemble
Yeah.
cast on there.
I think looking at his filmography, I would say Royal Tenenbaums has a special place in my heart.
Great.
That's number one. Two is Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes, that's next up.
Love Ralph Fiennes in that one.
He was
you're better with
brilliant.
names
Ray
than I am.
Fiennes,
Ray
yeah.
Fiennes,
Yeah.
there you go. And Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love.
And
George Clooney, I think
he was great. Yeah, he was really good.
His voice is great. I think
He was
could
great.
be a real. He could be a cool staple for Wes Anderson.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was his only
Yeah.
movie with
Yeah.
Anderson
'Cause he-
so far.
He has that likability with directors. He has a track record with Steven Soderbergh,
Yeah,
with the Coen brothers now. So I think Wes
Yeah.
Anderson could be like that for him too.
I hope so. Yeah, because you don't really see much of Clooney. You know, he did that movie with Julia Roberts last year, Ticket to Paradise, which
Yeah,
did not.
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah.
I wasn't interested
there
at
was
all.
a point in time, I think I mentioned this with you, where
Yeah.
he was my go-to actor. Like,
Okay,
anything like I loved. I mean, I love the ocean movies, but the
Sure.
Descendants.
Yep.
That was
Up in
with
the
air
with the daughters.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. Their mother. And the American. That's a hidden gem that not that
Okay.
many people have watched. I love that movie.
not
But that came back to back to back. After that, I was like, he's gold in my opinion.
not Batman and Robin.
I remember liking him back in the day. I mean, it has its moments.
I think he was a decent Bruce Wayne. He was a good Batman.
Yeah.
It was just the movie around him that sucked.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I think he's not. He's not forgettable as a Batman. I think he's better than Ben Affleck. But
Fair.
yeah, I think that movie gets a lot of crapola, but
I think Clooney is due for a little bit of a renaissance himself.
Yeah, I think
I agree with that.
I love him as a director. I think that's what he's going towards now. But yeah, I would love to see him to do more. Like I feel like he just needed to get a comedy out there because I think the world needed that. After coming from the pandemic.
True.
I think having more Clooney, doing some more dramatic roles.
What was the movie he did where he was on Mars and he was like all alone? It was basically Castaway on Mars.
That's Midnight Sky.
Yeah,
Midnight
he was great in
I
that.
love that. And then he directed that. That's great. I loved it. Yeah.
But that movie kind of fell through the cracks a little bit.
Yeah, that he did Tender Bar, which I thought was Tender
Yes.
Bar and Lost in Paradise, the last one.
Yeah, Ticket to Paradise. Yes.
I think it was kind of going downward a little bit, but I think we're due for something. But he's having fun with Nespresso and
a lot of free coffee there.
Kids now.
I could see him being like, because he was Batman and he is a little older.
Yeah.
He's not as old as Michael Keaton, but I kind of see like a similar trajectory going.
Yeah.
Like I think
I
Clooney.
haven't watched The Flash.
I did.
Apparently there was a cameo in there.
There might have been a cameo.
I'm
neither.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know he was hiding it. I saw some interviews and he was like, they never invited me.
For those listening, this is a spoiler-free zone.
Okay.
But Chris, you knew that. You knew that? No,
Yes,
okay,
I knew
that's
that.
okay.
I knew
No,
that.
no, you didn't reveal anything.
Yes.
There's a lot more bigger
There's
spoilers. There's some
there's a lot of stuff.
a lot of
going on
juicier
left.
stuff.
Yeah.
But all right, so I just want to go back. So Grand Budapest Hotel,
Yeah.
amazing.
Love it. Love
Was
it.
nominated for a few Oscars that year.
Ray Fiennes like
Yeah.
stole it. Like a lot of his films,
Yeah.
character actor driven, like that. When I think of that movie, I think of him running
Yeah.
across the
When the
hotel.
police show up.
Yeah, like that's what I think.
That's like the
about.
best scene.
Yeah.
So good, so good. Yeah,
And here we go. Like now
Yeah.
he has kind of like a lull with Isle of Dogs.
Right. This is where he
Yeah.
goes down. So this is okay. So this is 4 years after Grand Budapest.
Yeah.
So we went from 2014 to 2018.
Yeah.
Now 2018 is Isle of Dogs, which another stop motion adventure set in Japan.
Yeah.
It had cute
Cool,
moments.
It's a cool plot.
It's a cool idea, but I don't really remember anything about it that I enjoyed.
Right.
Like it had a great, visual style, as do all Anderson. Yeah, great, another ensemble cast there. And then the same could be said for the French Dispatch.
Yeah, honestly, maybe it's because I didn't watch it in a theater.
Yeah.
But I literally, the only thing I remember from that is Owen Wilson riding a bike with a beret. That's all I remember.
That's the takeaway. I love it. I love it. But yeah, that movie was, I mean, it's a mess. In my opinion, it's weird because it was well made, but it was a well made mess.
Right.
There's a lot going on. It's an anthology,
which is unlike Anderson because he usually is very laser focused, but that one was kind of messy.
Agreed.
So with that said, now we have Asteroid City.
Yeah.
And I think that was more refreshing.
Right.
So I hopefully it's now on an upswing.
I hope so. I hope we have a nice, bright future for Mr. Anderson. Oh, I also want to mention, back when they did the Darjeeling Limited, they did a small, like a short film to promote the film, to promote the actual feature-length film. And it was kind of a love story between Jason Schwartzman's character. He was set in a hotel in Paris, basically, and he reconnects with an old flame played by Natalie Portman. And that short film is few minutes long, brilliant, perfect. It was basically kind of like an introduction to Darjeeling Limited. So I don't know if you saw that one.
Is it the
Hotel Chevalier? I believe I'm butchering the French there, but
okay.
But yeah,
I'm thinking there was a vignette film based in Paris that had Natalie Portman and also had like William Dafoe.
Okay.
There were these short films that they made.
Oh,
it was called like.
And that's something else.
Yeah.
I think I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
So it was like each story was directed by a well-known director.
Right.
Gotcha. I think I remember
I think I'm confusing it.
Yeah, it's similar. I think similar.
Yeah.
But that was before the Darjeeling Limited, which was really good. I'm surprised Anderson hasn't done that for his other films.
Yeah.
But maybe he did, and I didn't know that.
That would be
But
good for sure.
Definitely. So I mean, I think Anderson. Yeah, I think his future is bright. He's only in his early 50s. You know,
this kid, Wes Anderson.
Yeah, what's with this guy?
I think he has like a future ahead of him.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's only been acting for almost 30 years. I mean, directing for 30 years.
Yeah.
But no, his filmography is basically a roller coaster ride.
Right.
He's got some real big hits. He's got some kind of.
Which is interesting because you don't think of his filmography as a roller coaster ride. The first thing I think of is like, it's a little bit cookie cutterish,
Right.
It's like he has a distinct style, quirkiness, some intimate plot that's kind of wrapped around quirkiness. So, but it's like you either hate or love some of his films.
Sure. A true auteur. Yes. And the visual style, I don't think there's another director working right now that has such a unique visual style.
Trying to think
of someone. It's like you cannot compare to Anderson. He is his own entity.
No, yes. I mean, like with this thing, I mean, there's definitely auteurs that have a great vision, like, Christopher Nolan comes to mind, where like all of his movies are beautiful, but there isn't a distinct quality to his film that you say, yes, that is, other than it being celluloid and with some sort of lighting attached to it. But like Anderson is very, very, very distinct.
Very distinctive and specific.
Yes.
And he writes characters very, very well.
Yeah.
So a lot of them,
and that's something that you said too. There's not that many writer directors out there
Yeah.
too. So you have Quentin Tarantino. He's a big writer director. He advocates for both. You have Christopher Nolan that pretty much does it, and I think he does it with his brother too.
Okay.
And then you have Wes Anderson. So and then you have Paul Thomas Anderson too.
Yep.
So like it doesn't surprise me that you have a lot of these very distinctive auteurs that have made a name for themselves that are doing both. So it's great that
to be a writer director is a really difficult and challenging.
It's difficult, yeah, I'm sure it is
dynamic.
But there's a level of ownership that I think makes the director, really take pride in their work and make sure that it is 100% suitable for audiences.
Yeah. And Anderson, he definitely knows what he wants.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not exactly what we want.
Yes, that's a good point.
But I respect that is a true artist.
And so like I could say this about him, like I'm gonna be thinking about this movie. Days. It's not. I can't say that about a lot of what's in theaters right now. There's movies that I come out of and I forgot what I just saw. I can't even tell you the details, and there's so many details to his films that like you could literally be talking about it for days and days and days.
Of course. Yeah. So guys, Asteroid City is now out in theaters. Check it out. It's really different. It's very Anderson. And I think it's worthy of one's attention.
And have a conversation around it. Go see the movie. Visit a friend.
Yes.
Have a dinner. Just, talk about it.
Yeah. I think you're speaking from experience right now.
Yes. Kind of, dates back to earlier this
afternoon. A few hours ago.
Yes. But I think it's important. It's important for us to have artistic discussions.
Always. And that's what we do here at Under the Radar.
Yes.
So before we go, Mr. Clemente, are there any plugs? Anything go on you wish to talk about?
Make sure that you're reading from your favorite film publication. I've done some work with Twinfinite, which is part of the Gamers group, and they have a lot going on. So make sure you check them out. Yeah.
So guys, if you want to see new episodes of Under the Radar on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Also, feel free to subscribe to the Under the Radar YouTube channel. And of course, you can listen to this podcast on Slam Radio SXM, Sirius XM channel 145 for all your movie loving needs. Awesome. Chris Clemente, thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Yes.
I love talking film with you.
Yes, it's always great discussing what's out there, both new and old.
Yes.
So guys, I'm Randy Younger. This has been Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending, interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Kotsur is sweeping award show season and making history in the process.
Congratulations on the film.
Thank you, sir.
Amazing. It was only 23 minutes, but it made me cry like a baby.
Yes, glad
So
to hear that.
thank you. It was good tears. It was just really sobering. Great film. How did it originally come about?
So, last Oscars, when Troy received the Oscar, like he sort of like just opened up this story that we just had to know. John here, he had started this foundation which launched Dad Saves America, and so we were in the office kind of like where most of America was talking about Will Smith incident. We're talking about, wow, did you see that guy Troy Kotsur? And fortunately we shared the same manager, and I got tasked. I got to direct the film, and what a blessing, what an honor that was to tell that story, because it was truly an amazing story. You could see it was just beaming on stage about like how much that relationship meant to Troy, and so naturally,
Super expressive in his communication. You can just tell the man is oozing with emotion. What was it like working with Troy?
Yeah, fantastic. You said it, man. That guy has got like the volume of nuanced expression that he brings to his roles, and even to telling his own story. It just blows me away.
Any challenges during filming?
Oh yeah, always challenges. I had never made a film that's ASL for an ASL audience before, and so wow, from every step of the way, it changes things. You have to rethink all the things that you did, that you sort of took on and learned throughout your career, and so it was good. It was good expanding.
Yeah. Was that a daunting task?
I would not daunting.
Okay.
Fun. It's a new culture, right? It's like converging, and so the process, it makes it longer, and the learning curve. So whenever you have learning, there's a little suffering involved.
For sure.
So yeah. Yeah.
So lastly, what do you hope audiences take away from the film?
I want audiences to be moved, right? To think about how important Troy's dad was in his life, right? And how, in general, right? Like, dads are important, and we shouldn't diminish dads. We should lift them up, and and I think really, everybody can learn from this story, in general, about how to get through suffering, how to get through tragedy in their lives.
And Father's Day is right around the corner, so this is a great gift to all the dads out there. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man.
Leave the audience wanting more is the thing we want, right? As filmmakers.
Yeah.
It was a little too long is not what you want to hear.
No, you want that sweet spot right in the middle there. How did you get involved with the project?
Well, Troy and I share a manager, Mark Finley, and so Mark had talked to me about how amazing Troy is, and I have this show, Dad Saves America, that celebrates fatherhood and explores the different things that we do as dads to help our kids thrive in the world. And so when Troy delivered that impassioned speech at the Oscars and told in just a small moment the heartbreak and the heroism of his dad, we said, this is a story that needs to be turned into something fuller than this. And so, Mark made the connection. I pitched Troy to come down to Austin and spend some time together, and we were off to the races last summer.
So what was it like working with Troy? I know he's a very emotional, very expressive individual. That must have been an amazing experience for you guys.
Well, there's a couple things that were really amazing. The first was, and I think this was the thing about CODA, right? For most people, there's only 1 million or so deaf and hard of hearing people in the United States. So that's out of 330 million Americans. So we don't necessarily encounter deaf culture very often. And when we do, it's only in tiny snippets. So CODA gives you this chance to experience deaf culture. And we tried to embrace that with the film. And that meant, grappling with this language, ASL. And that was transformational. It changed the way we had to do the filmmaking. It informed everything about the visuals of the film, because Troy's at the centerpiece interview, but we don't want to cut away from him because he's not vocalizing his words, and we didn't want to use a voiceover for his voice. We wanted his voice, which is his hands, to be the voice.
smart move. It would have been really cheesy otherwise. So good move on that part.
I mean, believe me, we're trying to make it good for everybody, right?
Right.
So trying to do that, but also have it be stay dramatic for a hearing audience was an interesting challenge.
What was your communication like with the deaf community while filming this? Did you have support from them? Were they?
Oh.
How was that relationship?
Well, Troy's a rock star,
Right.
When it comes to the deaf community, I mean, he's an unbelievable figure.
Right.
And we're in Austin, Texas, which has a truly remarkable school for the deaf. It's actually one of the largest in the country. So when Troy came down last summer, we actually partnered with the Texas School for the Deaf. So after we filmed with him, he taught a class for some of the deaf theater kids at the school, and then all of the actors that play Troy in our film are deaf.
Wow. Okay.
And so we tried to honor that reality throughout the entire process, and it gave us an unbelievable immersion in it.
Right. So Coda, it definitely opened doors for deaf people. This film is no different. How do you feel about the future of art affecting life?
Well, I like to say that there's sort of 3 ways we learn how to do anything in this world. We learn through direct experience, right? You go out there, you try, you fail, you succeed. You learn by your parents or your friends or the people around you. And then you learn through the stories we tell. And that's what art is fundamentally about. It's about exploring the human condition.
Right.
And so I think art and life are deeply connected and always have been, and they continue to evolve together.
Hello, how are you?
Congratulations on all your successes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for everything you've done. The Coda is amazing, obviously. A great family story. And we get more of that in To My Father, which is also great. So, what was it like bringing your story to the big screen?
Well, I feel that deep inside, I was telling myself that I wanted everyone to know that I wasn't alone. And it wasn't only me and my family that was struggling, because every family has their own personal struggles. And people that think they're alone are really not alone. So I'm here to share this story and be vulnerable and show the experiences that I went through and tell everyone that, look at me. I'm okay. I'm doing fine. This documentary really shows that the father, it's so important for dads to be involved in their kids' lives and do whatever they need to be successful. And so whatever you go through, love can overcome any barrier.
I totally agree. My father and I, we don't always see eye to eye, which is frustrating. But there is a strong connection. There is always going to be love, no matter what, no matter all the arguments and disagreements. Will always be father and son, and this film reflects that relationship, that love, and that power of love.
I agree with what you're saying. When you mention arguments, when you look at that, really it's care. And it's nice to hear a different perspective. There's always different sides to every story, and you can make the best decision and the best choices after those arguments, right? So, you know what I mean.
Of course.
I know what it feels like to be a father now. I have a daughter, and I know it's hard for dads. You think you know what's best, but sometimes you have to let go and let your kids decide, and just do what's best for your kid, and that makes you become a better father too. And it is really challenging. It's a challenging role. And now looking back at everything my father did and everything he went through for me, now I'm able to share that story with an audience. And it's funny because my daughter graduated high school a month ago. And now I'm feeling a bit torn. It's really hard to let go of you, and I'm not quite ready yet. I only have one child, so she's my only baby girl. And I'm the daddy. She's the daddy's girl.
No more kids. You don't want any more heartache. No.
Look on the positive side. I have more time to be involved in different productions and different projects. So life is short, so I'm ready to roll up my sleeves. I'm trying my best, and I'm really happy for my daughter to go off to college, because I'm sure maybe you've experienced when you went to college, maybe you had to let go of your mom and dad, so you probably feel me.
Yeah, I hear you, man. What's next for you? Any big film projects? Any theater coming up?
an episode of Bear Grylls Running Wild. I participated in as a guest, and it's coming out July 30th.
Okay.
In a couple months, so that was really fun. I did an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. That'll be out this fall. And they're coming up on their 14th and last season, I believe.
That's awesome.
And I'm also involved in an independent film called In Cold Light.
Nice.
And I'm going to play a rodeo cowboy.
I love
it.
it.
It's in Canada, and so I'm really excited for that. And after my daughter has graduated, now I'm starting to shift my focus and roll up my sleeves and get back to work.
That's awesome. And we need more good work from you because you are incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you understand why I love this movie so much?
No.
For Sav Rogers, a queer kid growing up in Kansas, role models came from an unexpected source.
When I was 12, I had a movie where the gay and lesbian characters were good and funny and out. They were able to live as their authentic selves.
Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy. The third film from director Kevin Smith.
It's about a guy who falls in love with a lesbian.
But Sav's about to find out. Life's not about finding your heroes.
Welcome to the house that Amy built.
It's about finding yourself.
I'm directing a project about the legacy of Chasing Amy as an LGBTQ film. Do you find the film to be authentic to the LGBTQ community?
I find it authentic to the straight dude who falls for a queer woman community.
No longer being a lesbian by meeting the right man.
That's gonna be controversial.
Ben Affleck's goatee was a bad idea.
Let's go into the movie.
Something that's problematic can still mean a lot in your development.
It was brave to portray somebody fluid.
Seeing that movie helped me figure out, oh, that's me.
That's gay.
This girl loves me.
It's cool to come to a place where a bunch of stuff changed your life. All right, let's go. This is where they have their big fight.
Well, we're purifying it with our butts.
You were so supportive, and I was so alone in the world.
How wonderful that you found something in it.
The movie is amazing, but whatever moved you, there's a dark side too.
I can't erase the past.
You don't just get a pass for that.
I didn't know what I expected. I did not expect all this.
Maybe what's really troubling you is that your fragile fantasy might not be true.
Can we tap? This movie made me be honest with myself. Chasing Amy and chasing Amy. My butt has been where Ben Affleck's butt has been. Basically Ben Affleck. A little shorter.
Hey guys, Randy Young here, Under the Radar, here at the Tribeca Festival for the premiere of the new documentary, Chasing Amy. About to interview some of the talent. Here we go.
We are so excited to be here at Tribeca Film Festival after all these years working on this film. I mean, for a directorial feature from just such an emerging director to be here and to tell a story about a trans guy coming of age and showing hope. I mean, this guy's just so collaborative, visionary. This will not be the last that people hear of him.
I hope so. I hope I see plenty more of his work, and yours, sir. So it's a beautiful film. I was just talking to Sav about it. What were some of those challenges that you faced while during filming?
I think one of the biggest challenges was that Sav didn't want to be the center of attention or the protagonist in the film.
I just found that out, actually.
It's surprising because he's such a natural on camera and he's so charming and endearing, but it was really challenging and amazing to have those conversations about him, about why we were all coming to produce this story, which was because he is the emotional heart and center of why we all care about Chasing Amy in this way. So having those conversations and making sure that he felt comfortable, being on screen in this way and being that vulnerable, and I think that ultimately is why the film is so moving, is because of the vulnerability he's sharing and what he elicits from the people he's talking to.
So it originally started, he would be behind the scenes, and then it kind of evolved into him being basically the star of the film. That's a great thing.
And that's a credit to his want for collaboration and feedback and notes. This guy wants to hear from the people around him who he surrounds himself with. And so from all of us as producers, there was an encouragement and always then an understanding too of like what would make the best story, which credit again to him as a director. He's interested in telling the best story and putting on the director hat, taking off the director hat, the personal, and doing what's best to tell the most effective and moving story while being mindful of the people who are at the center.
Now, you mentioned collaboration. How important is collaboration to you on a film set?
Collaboration is everything to me on a film set. I've worked on a number of documentary projects, especially that deal with the trans community, and always employing and empowering trans people behind the scenes to be a part of telling those stories. And if you don't feel like you're able to be yourself and do your best work on a set, you're not going to end up getting the best story, because people don't feel like they
You gotta
can
put your heart into it.
Exactly, and just fully show up. And so collaboration is everything, and I think being able to be challenged and hear feedback is one of the necessary pieces of any kind of work that is also going to challenge culture in a way that is beyond what we've seen before.
It's amazing. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you
so
so
good,
much.
So good.
We so appreciate the time and for you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How's it going with the festivals and everything? How's the film doing?
I think the film's doing pretty well so far. I mean, this will be the first time we see it with an audience, so I really couldn't be happier.
So what was the journey like? I know it was very difficult, but and very uplifting and empowering. And just how do you feel with it all done?
Immense relief that it's all done. I mean, it was a wonderful journey. It was a hard journey. It was life-changing, the entire experience. So I'm just grateful for everybody here who's here to celebrate it and to watch the movie. I can't believe it.
I'm excited for you. What were some of the big challenges during filming? I'm curious.
I think the biggest challenging as we were finishing the movie was watching cuts of myself on screen. You know, it's hard to balance being the filmmaker and also being the primary participant, especially when you did not want to be the primary participant. And so that was the most difficult part for me. But again, like, we have such amazing collaborators, you know, from our editing team to our producers to our DPs that, you know, were so kind and gracious with me as I was, you know, trying to navigate what's that relationship like and what's that process like.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like assembling the cast from the original film? You met Kevin Smith. How amazing was that?
Getting to meet everybody from Chasing Amy, Kevin included, was incredible. I mean, they didn't have to give me any of their time. They didn't have to give me interviews. They didn't have to work with me on this, but they all chose to, and the movie is so much better for their participation, and getting to work with them has made me a better director.
That's amazing. Are there any other Kevin Smith movies that have made an impact, not as big as Chasing Amy, but what do you think of his filmography as a whole?
I love Kevin's movies. You know, Kevin was the first filmmaker that I really responded to, like, just in terms of his overall body of work. And so Dogma is probably my next favorite Kevin Smith movie. It's a brilliant script. I love the rules of the universe, what he sets up there. It's wildly imaginative, and it's a great film.
Are there any other films that have touched you in such a way, or?
Like Save My Life?
Yeah, pretty much, or came close to it, or what are some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites, I love The Truman Show, Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, Birds of Prey, Rear Window. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, there's so many amazing movies out there. I could stand here talking to you all day about it.
Of course, I have a movie review show, so I had to ask.
There you go.
Are there any other projects you're working on now you can talk about?
With the writer's strike, nothing much that I can talk about right now, but whatever comes next, it'll hopefully continue this trend for me of being optimistic, fun, and focusing on the joy of life and not just the worst things that have ever happened to us as queer people.
What drew you to the project?
I've known Sav since he was in college, and my background is in film festivals, and so I worked at a festival that programmed some of his early work.
Okay.
So I've known him for that long, and we became friends.
Sort of a mentor, I see.
Yeah, in some ways. And we became friends, and in 2019, he was looking for, a grant writer to help write some of the grants for the film.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can do it. I don't like to write grants, but I'm like, I can do it. And so just I've worked with him and the team, like, for the last 4 years to this moment, really, yeah.
What do you hope audiences take away from the film ultimately?
I mean, for me, it has nothing to do with Chasing Amy. I probably haven't seen the movie since when it came out.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
I did start watching it again on the plane here.
Right.
But for me, it was always about Sav.
Okay.
And it's always about how much movies matter.
Right.
See, and I'm so glad we're seeing it in the theater tonight with, when you watch something in the theater and you have that visceral reaction to the way movies make us feel, which is exactly what this movie's about. So I just hope people walk away feeling that, feeling validated in whatever movie moved them, and also, to be themselves, and that it's okay to be take this journey.
What a fantastic message! It's great. Are you a fan of Kevin Smith's previous works, other stuff?
Honestly, I saw Clerks back in the day. I'm not a huge Kevin Smith aficionado, and I think he's a great filmmaker. But that again, that's not what brought me to this movie. It was Sav that brought me to this movie.
I love it. Great answer.
Yay, Kevin.
Yay, Kevin, and yay, you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Mustafa, Randy Younger, Under the Radar. How are you?
Nice to meet you,
Yes.
Randy. I'm excited to be here, man.
I'm excited for you.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Sav.
I'm excited in general. This is amazing.
I'm excited for Sav, man.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
It's
time.
a great film.
I'm just so happy for
And
you.
you're part of the creation of that fire.
Do you think so?
I think you're a good part of that.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm honored to even know that, to even believe that we had that kind of effect on people.
Yeah.
And the characters and the script and the whole vision for that movie and what it's done for so many people.
Yeah.
I'm just just really glad for Sav.
Yeah.
More than anything.
That's so cool of
And
you.
this is our first time meeting.
Oh, that's all. So 26 years now since Chasing Amy came out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 1997.
Oh my God.
What is it
Do
like?
I look different?
No, you look good. You
Do I
look good.
look
You
the
look better.
same?
You've aged like
Exactly,
a fine wine,
like a
sir.
fine-
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
curse? Sorry about that.
If you
Like
want,
fine wine.
it's fine. Congratulations on everything. How does it feel to look back now on that film?
Growth, just being able to see yourself grow on celluloid is a very powerful thing in and of itself.
Okay.
And that character has had such an impact on our culture. And I want to thank Kevin for that. I want to thank him for even hiring me at that time, and knowing that.
You were so good in it.
Thank
You were
you,
so
brother.
good.
Thank you. I
Thank
gotta
you
go.
so much. Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure to meet you.
You too, man.
We're so excited to be here. It's been an incredible week already, and we're all just totally vibing for the premiere tonight.
Very excited for you guys. I actually watched the film last night, and it was really a triumph. So I want to credit you, Sav, and the entire team on a job well done.
Thank you. It's been among the most collaborative projects I've ever had. Sav assembled this incredible team of people with disparate expert, takes on things that just really developed a fabric for the whole film. All credit to Sav for putting together such an elaborate team of incredible and talented people. It's been a real joy to work on. I've been with the project for about 3.5 years. The project's been going on for a little closer to 5 total, and it's just such a deeply personal film for Sav, and we're just so happy that we're able to give such a platform for the film.
So you obviously saw potential in Sav's vision. What drew you? What was the main driving force? What attracted you to the project?
Oh man, that's such a great question. Thank you for asking. I first met Sav in 2018 at a Missouri Film Commission party at the now Gotham, but then IFP week. And we were introduced by the Missouri Film Commissioner, Andrea Sporchik. Thank you, Andrea. I just immediately fell for Sav's idea and vision and energy. And I knew at that moment that Sav was like a moving train, right? And so I had to hop aboard.
Yeah.
And so it took a little while for things to kind of settle out, but I ended up getting on board, and we ended up finishing the project in post at my production company, Space Station, here in Brooklyn. And the entire year and a half that we were in post, Sav was so involved and so integral to every decision. And then our group of producers, Alex and Leela and Carrie, myself and Sav, it's just so collaborative and just such a joy to work with. We're really I feel like we're on a victory lap right now.
That's awesome. And I've definitely, collaboration seems to be the theme tonight, especially with this film. So how important is collaboration on a film set for you?
Well, it's very rare, I think, to have the collaboration at the level we've had it. Sav, as a director, does such an incredible job of making sure that everyone feels seen and heard, and that every note is considered. Sav has his own vision, and he's ready to let other people amplify that.